In Chain of Memories, Twilight Town was a mysterious world simulated out of data from supposedly the other side of Sora's heart. Thanks to Kingdom Hearts 2, we now understand how this world is connected to Sora. It's the birthplace of his nobody, Roxas.
In today's Shedding Starlight episode, we're going to discuss Roxas, the meaning behind his creation, his time in the organization, and his return to Sora. Roxas was born during the later part of Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora stabbed himself with a Keyblade to release Kairi's heart from himself. This act, in turn, released his own heart, creating a Heartless as a result. As for Sora's leftover body, it did exactly what Ansem the Wise described in his 7th report. When a Heartless is born, the body and soul left behind are reborn into Twilight Town as a different being. Later in his 12th report, Ansem the Wise writes, Roxas is Sora's nobody, but was left behind because Sora's Heartless regained human form using Kairi's heart instead of his own.
So in a way, Sora's original body was reborn as Roxas, and shortly after, in Hollow Bastion, Kairi restored Sora herself, in a way creating a new body for Sora. This is why Roxas was able to continue existing independently from Sora. We've talked before about how the organization kept an eye on both Sora and Twilight Town. Sora to make sure he's not ruining their plans, and Twilight Town to recruit desirable members. So Roxas, the Keyblade wielder's nobody, is, of course, someone worth recruiting. Xemnas immediately visits Roxas upon his creation and gives him his new name, securing him as the 13th member of the organization.
I can give you purpose, the new you.
Twilight Town being Roxas's birthplace would explain why it's remembered by the other side of Sora's heart. The credits of Chain of Memories shows Axel walking Roxas through Twilight Town. This is implied to be the same day, as Roxas isn't wearing a black coat yet. Axel gets Roxas sea salt ice cream, and the two sit atop the tower.
The day we met, and you got your new name, you and I sat right here and watched the sunset.
This first day would start the long friendship between Axel and Roxas. Even during Castle Oblivion, as Axel spoke to Sora, he already knew he was friends with his nobody. But what purpose would Roxas serve in the organization? The organization's main goal was to be recompleted, obtaining hearts granted by Kingdom Hearts, a moon composed of other hearts released by Emblem Heartless, and those could only be released by a Keyblade wielder. So it would make sense if the organization used Roxas to help build Kingdom Hearts by fighting Heartless.
But a purpose in the organization is not the same as a purpose in life. Roxas hungered for more answers than what he was given, and left the organization to find them.
Why did the Keyblade choose me? I have to know.
This made Axel worry for Roxas, and he pleaded with him to stay.
You can't turn on the organization. You get on their bad side and they'll destroy you.
Axel couldn't sway Roxas, however, and Riku found the opportune moment to approach Roxas alone and bring him to Diz. This leads to the fight we discussed last episode, first seen in the Kingdom Hearts 1 secret ending. Riku won this fight after he accepted the darkness, and Roxas was placed within the virtual Twilight Town. The organization then tasked Axel with retrieving Roxas. He failed the first attempt, and his superior said that he must either bring back Roxas or destroy him. For if Roxas refuses to comply with the organization, they cannot afford him to be used to wake Sora up. However, this is exactly what happened. Axel retreated after being defeated by Roxas in a fight, allowing Diz and Namine to complete the process of returning Roxas to Sora.
Looks like my summer vacation is over.
I owe you both. Castle Oblivion. You helped us.
After Roxas went to sleep within Sora, Riku let not only Namine go free, but Axel as well. However, Axel was still determined to retrieve his friend, if not for the organization, then for himself. In hopes that an emotional reaction by Sora would awaken Roxas from within, Axel attempts to kidnap Kairi, but is first disrupted by Riku, and again later by Saïx. But Axel later makes up for this by helping Sora reach where Kairi is, the world that never was. When they're surrounded by dusks, Axel unleashes a powerful attack that costs him his life. While Axel fades away, thinking his efforts were for naught, his plan of rousing Roxas within Sora actually succeeded to a certain extent. After Axel's sacrifice, the organization members are seen in the Round Room of Thrones, in which Xemnas implies that Axel touching Sora's heart may have awoken Roxas from within him.
It is clear that through his actions, Axel has touched Sora's heart. Perhaps he will soon awaken.
And this leads to two emotional scenes that ride the line between literal and abstract. The first is when Sora and Roxas fight at the Station of Awakening. At the start of this fight, Roxas is frustrated that Sora is the one who got to live on. But by the end of the fight, he accepts that he is Sora's other half.
You make a good other.
During this fight, there's the second, dreamlike scene of Axel and Roxas meeting atop Twilight Town's station tower.
Look who's finally awake. Or maybe I have it wrong. Might be time to sleep. Soon we won't be able to talk like this anymore.
This could be interpreted as Axel and Roxas saying goodbye before they both fall asleep in their own ways.
Another scene where Roxas wakes is at the world that never was, when, through Sora and Kairi, Roxas and Namine's heart connect again.
I see myself the way you remember me, and you see yourself the way I remember you.
This is another interesting line connecting memories and appearance. The way Roxas phrases this, it's as if not your own memories that dictate how you look, but someone else's memories of you. We can explore this idea further when considering that Roxas is, in a way, Sora's original body. Ansem the Wise writes in his 7th report, "Yet the nobody born of someone with a strong heart retains its shape, but with the faintest visible changes." Xemnas may have said to Roxas about Sora,
He looks a lot like you.
but there's still the glaring difference of hair. Perhaps this is related to the fact that Roxas did not seem to have memories of his past life before Namine's interference. If Roxas, during his time in the organization, remembered himself as Sora, he wouldn't have left to find out why the Keyblade chose him. A dissonance between Roxas and Sora's identities would explain Riku's thought.
I think he left the organization because he really wanted to meet you.
Roxas may have been born from our main hero, but he fought for his own self. 2 separate times Roxas experienced this cycle. Waking up in Twilight Town, he was placed into a situation he had no cognizance of, only to learn more about himself and his connection to a boy named Sora. He fought tooth and nail to escape this comparison, only to end up as Sora's alternative.
But Roxas's friends, his own connections he made himself, gave him a positive outlook for his future within Sora. Namine once told him they would meet again, and they did with their original selves. And now, on Destiny Islands, they can be together again.
Ooh, Roxas.
Roxas!
Okay, so I'm kind of recovering from a cold / still kind of have a cold. So I'm going to do my best to hold through because we have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about this boy. This little boy.
Who lives on my mind constantly.
He's
this anomaly of a man.
Yeah. This is like, so I didn't write this down, but I'll try to make this quick. There's a game that's kind of like a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 2 that I'm always in debate about, like whether fans should play that game first or this game first. But something that is just so interesting about Roxas is that no matter which one you play, you always end up coming around really liking Roxas. Roxas is definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. He's so, I don't know, he's just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, you feel for the guy.
And
you feel for this little boy.
Not even like in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, no, he's doomed by the fucking narrative from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That poor
guy. Exactly. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Today. And like one of the big kind of ideas I just wanted to like start off with, it's like this was what I was thinking when I was like reading over everything else. It's just like this whole process of like making nobodies and heartless bodies, hearts, minds, whatever the fuck. It all feels like so scientific. It feels like there's a clear formula, and then Sora comes along and knocks an extra chemical into the flask or turns the temperature up too high or something, because his result turns out differently than the rest of the class.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else's, as far as we know, like, everyone's nobodies are somewhat carbon copy of themselves.
Yeah.
But, like, this big motherfucking elephant in the room, who is Roxas? This person that doesn't look like Sora.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like Sora. Doesn't feel like Sora.
Yeah.
And it's just like different voice actor. And like so clear, like so insistent throughout this whole game that like I'm not him, he's not me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, is Sora's, I wrote down here, heart/light/existence just so strong that he is able to create an entire new person from like this one facet of himself, his body, which like we don't know right now, but like what's going on here? Like there's a glitch in the matrix, there's a change in the formula, and it's so interesting.
Something that makes it even weirder, which we can't really dive into until next episode, is the fact that Sora didn't do it with one person. He did it with fucking two, because Namine is also so different from Kairi. And the way Diz talks about it, he's like, well, I don't know if that's like Kairi's problem. I think it's because of Sora, you know? So it's like, what is up with this fucking guy creating new people?
Yeah, these four people who are so hopelessly entangled in each other.
Mm-hmm.
Two halves of each other in every which way.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And, like, that kind of brings me to, like, my first kind of specific bullet point. That brings me to this phrase that I am still so intrigued by, which is, like, the other side of Sora's heart. What does that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Like, it's to me, that phrase implies that they are like, that Roxas and Sora are two halves of the same heart, which is like so not the messaging we get for nobodies through the rest of this game at all. Like, it's so, like, what's going on? What's going on here? What's happening with these two? It's so crazy.
The most I could, like, think was that, like, at first my thought process was, when Namine, and this is something we'll get to with emails, if we get to the emails. We have a lot to say, so we don't know if we'll have the time.
To say.
But it's the idea of, like, when Namine connected Roxas to Sora, it was reciprocal. It was a two-way street. So they're connected together.
But even then, the other side of Sora's heart is a phrase used before Sora even falls asleep to reconnect with Roxas in the first place. And so, yeah, Roxas is Sora's nobody. So you could obviously be like, yeah, well, the other side of Sora's heart, like it's Roxas, like they're connected, they're one and the same. But they're also different, and that's the fucking point.
Yeah, like they're the same, but they're not.
Yeah.
And they're different, but they're not.
Because like in any other series or franchise, the other side of your heart would almost be like if you had like two different personalities within you. But that's not what Roxas is. He's not another personality for Sora. He's like a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's weird.
I'm so interested in this phrase because it's also like, I don't know, it's not implied on, like, it's not really talked about.
Yeah.
Past this, right, Mel? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
So, yeah, I want to keep calling attention to it because it's so different.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel like it makes a full circle in later games where it's like, where it's like we kind of come back to this phrase, but it's not really this phrase that they use. It's like a different phrase. So, yeah, it's definitely weird.
Yeah. And just to kind of get into the nitty-gritty here, something that I really never thought about during this whole, like during my experience playing through these games is the fact that now Sora has two bodies. There's two of them now. So, I guess my question here, like, is Sora made up of two bodies? Just did one of them just disappear? Is that why he gets taller in this game?
That's so stupid to say. It is definitely weird. It kind of, to me, it kind of goes back to the idea that Sora doesn't have, like, two personalities, you know? I feel like in any other franchise, if someone is made up of two people, they, like, switch in and out and, like, ooh, I'm the happy one. Ooh, I'm the grumpy one, you know? But, like, it's weird. I don't even know. Maybe this is just because maybe I don't understand it. And, like, Albert Einstein, what did he say? If you don't understand something completely, then you can't explain it simply or something, or maybe it was vice versa. But, like, it is kind of, it almost makes me feel like, okay, so I'm a pixel artist, right? And when you need to shade two different colors together, you'll kind of make a checkered pattern out of the two colors, where it'll be like red on top of white on top of red on top of white to make pink, instead of just actually making pink, right? And so I almost wonder if maybe that is how Sora's body is now, where it's not that Roxas's body, like, evaporated, but maybe they just, like, combined. But I don't know. What do I know?
I did see, and we can cut this out if you think this is stupid. I have been seeing on Twitter people talking about this, that, like, I think some Ultimania said Sora's hair gets lighter because of the influence of Roxas in this game. Like, the asset of his hair actually gets lighter or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard of that. And this is something I feel like we can include in. Like, I'm not really saying anything weird. But I am such a bitch where I'm the type of person, this is literally why I'm not valid as a Kingdom Hearts fan, is where I honestly think to myself, like, I don't care if it's in the Ultimania. Is it in the game? If the game doesn't say it, then I don't care. Which is like, nobody else thinks that way. And I don't even know if I even encourage people to think that way. But that's just how I think. If it's not in the Ultimania, I don't care. Or if it's not in the video game. If it's not in the game itself, I don't care.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, in Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora's hair is a little bit lighter than in Kingdom Hearts 1. Especially vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1. I think people kind of forget how Sora looked literally in 2002. Because in 2002, his hair was so dark. It was so dark. And so, I don't know, maybe people are
I don't know. Maybe there's something to it.
Come to your own conclusion, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Do your own research. Think what you want to.
Another thing that kind of like, I didn't really understand this, because I remember being like, okay, well, if Roxas is now inside Sora, how come Roxas doesn't like come to him in visions like Kairi did in Kingdom Hearts 1? And then I was like, well, maybe it's because he's a nobody, you know? Yeah. Maybe it just works differently. And he can't do that because he's a nobody. And then I was like, wait a fucking second. He literally does that. He literally does. Yeah. And so I don't know why I think it's just because it takes like the whole game before Roxas actually does it. While in Kingdom Hearts 1, Kairi does it like throughout the fucking game, you know? She even does it at like Disney World. It's like Deep Jungle. And so,
I think to me, that speaks to like, because, you know, nobodies are supposed to be just like empty shells of just bodies, right? I feel like this kind of implies that there's maybe a bit more to it than just that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, Kairi was a heart, and, like, that's, you know, a heart of a princess of light at the same time. Like, that's a strong presence, but, like, you know, a nobody that's supposed to be nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I don't know, maybe there's something else going on here.
And again, I think Diz's prejudice against nobodies, you kind of have to wonder, like, okay, Diz, you don't like this person. So I have to ask myself, are they actually a bad person, or are you just somebody who holds a grudge?
Are you just an old man?
Yeah. Are you just cranky?
Yeah. So something that I really liked getting clarification on during this whole script, I remember when I was playing through Kingdom Hearts 2 again for this season, I remember writing down in my notes, like, what is the order of events here? Because you know, there's the whole, like, looks like my summer vacation is over scene. And then there's this scene of Axel and Roxas meeting on top of the Twilight Town Station Tower.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so Roxas disappears twice? What's happening here?
Yeah.
So you put it in the script of, like, this is them trying to talk to each other, like, in present time. This is not a flashback. Like most likely it's not a flashback. This is them trying to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. And it's good to get clarification, because it's like, it clearly, like, why did Roxas disappear twice? What's the order of events here?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, like, it's good to get clarification.
And I too, for years, was also confused about this. Because I remember being like, well, why is he in his black coat again? He's in his black coat when he fights Sora at the Station of Awakening, but, like, why is he suddenly at Twilight Town Tower? Like, I don't fucking get it. And then I think it was a Tumblr user, where they responded to me and they were like, Mel, you're being too literal. Like, calm down. It's literally, like, abstract. Like, it's just like an abstract scene. And I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, yes. So if you were listening and you were also confused about that, I think that interpretation is one that will bring you kind of far and will kind of help you understand like what's actually
it makes sense.
Which reminds me, in like before this game came out in English, or like this version of the game came out in English, for a long time it was Japanese exclusive. I remember watching this scene in like 240p on YouTube and not even realizing that Axel was crying because the quality was so low. It's crazy. Anyway. Okay, speaking of Kingdom Hearts 1 or Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix and like whatever. So in Kingdom Hearts 1's secret ending, which we had like a whole episode about where we talked about all these different things and like, what does it mean, you know? So we're going to come back to a couple of those things because now we understand that Kingdom Hearts 1's secret ending was the fight between Riku and Roxas. And I was debating on whether I should talk about this episode or the episode we had on Riku and Diz, but it's just such like a weird thing to talk about that I'm just going to bring it up here. Okay, so there are a couple of things that I want to say, like, didn't make the cut. Like, she was in the prototype, she's not in the final version, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, Riku doesn't trap Roxas in this, like, circle of fire, you know, in like a heart shape. You know how Riku has like that dark mode and then he has like that little heart shape on his chest? Yeah. That's the shape that he summons around Roxas to trap him in. Obviously, that's not there.
Right.
And then there's no meteor shower. There was like a meteor shower in the background. That's not fucking there. And then one thing I do think is interesting is the skyscraper screens. Like the big monitors at the top of the building. I don't know what it's called. I think it has a name, but I don't remember the name. Sorry, don't come for me. I don't remember the skyscraper name. It does show in the secret ending, it shows very vague images of Kairi, which I don't think make it in the Kingdom Hearts 2 cutscene. I do think it's very similar to how Roxas tries to remember Kairi when he has those flashbacks of Sora. Because like in those flashbacks, whenever Kairi comes up or they try to say her name, it's almost like the word photos, where like she gets cut out or like she gets cut away or something. And so I feel like that's like Kingdom Hearts 1 trying to reinforce that Sora is trying to remember Kairi and therefore Roxas is trying to remember Kairi. Okay. And then the last thing, which is kind of like, well, okay, so I'll say at the beginning of this fight, we now see Roxas telling Riku in the Kingdom Hearts 1 secret ending, "Where's Sora?" But it's kind of hard to, you know, that kind of makes it seem like Roxas went out looking for Sora. Right. And I personally wouldn't really say that's the case in the final Kingdom Hearts 2 version. It seems like Riku was like, "You're going to Sora," and Roxas is like, "Fuck you, I'm not." And then he did, of course. But after that fight, the secret ending kind of implies that Roxas would get yellow eyes, and obviously he has blue eyes. So whatever they were planning with that, which we can talk more about that later, I think. I don't know. You'll see Kingdom Hearts fans talk about yellow eyes and what it means, but I personally don't really want to dive into that into a future title. And then another very small detail was that when Roxas makes a corridor of darkness to like open it, the emblem Heartless appears. But obviously he's a nobody, so he wouldn't make an emblem Heartless kind of thing.
Right.
So
yeah.
So yeah, those
it's
are
good
all
to
the
have
differences.
the nitty gritty breakdown of this to see like what changed over these few years.
Yeah, which I think is something that can be helpful in the future, is that sometimes the secret endings, not that you take them with a grain of salt, because overall they're going to be the same.
Yeah.
But just don't take the nitty gritty details as like absolute law, because you never know what might change and shift in the future of the series. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was how Roxas's story really gives us insight into the Station of Awakening, which is that place with all of those glass platforms. And the reason why Kingdom Hearts 2 really makes this place interesting is because in Kingdom Hearts 1, it was just a place that Sora dreamed about. He dreamed about it while he was on Destiny Islands, and then Kairi woke him up, and he was like, "That was a weird dream. Where was I?" You know?
Yeah.
And then in Kingdom Hearts 2, both with Roxas and Sora, it seems like an actual, like, visiting place.
Yeah.
Because when Roxas visited it in Twilight Town, it seemed like he visited it in, like, an instant, you know? But then I also got to remember that he's in a data world, a digital world. And so I'm sure that they just, like, everything just, like, paused. Because people pause a lot in that fucking world for no goddamn reason, you know?
Can you imagine your world just fucking pauses around you?
That would be so scary. That would be so scary.
That would be so wild. I don't know what I would be able to do. I don't know what I would do.
I would do either. I think I would expect someone to, like, pop out and start talking to me like, "Namine.
Namine, where are you?" And so I wanted to ask, this is the first time we see Sora on the stained glass, right? Is in this game. Which I think is something really interesting, is how, you know, we talked about how in Kingdom Hearts 1, we theorized,
I mean, it's not confirmed, but you and I talked about how maybe the reason Sora had dreams about the Princesses of Heart is that, like, somehow the princesses were reaching out to Sora. Yeah. But we don't really know if that's the case in Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, maybe Namine connected Roxas to Sora. Because the thing about Kingdom Hearts 2, I don't know if this is ever said in the game, but I think it'll help you, a new fan, really understand, is that the more we see of the Station of Awakening, the more you're supposed to kind of get that it's a visual representation of a heart, of your heart, or someone else's heart.
Which is so cool, by the way. What a cool storytelling device that they decided to use.
It looks so cool. There's literally, I've never seen anything like it before in any video game before or since. Yeah.
And like, it is like, it has you on it, and then it has like the people that matter most to you on it. Yeah. I love it. It's so good.
It's very, very cool. And the last thing that I think is really interesting about it that I just want to mention is that when Sora fights Roxas in it, Sora's body disappears because Donald and Goofy are like, dude, where did you go? Like, you left and we had to fight nobodies, which I think is like such a throwaway line that really has major implications about what that place is.
Yeah. And like, did Roxas drag him there unwillingly? That's kind of crazy to think about.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a few emails, and I kind of grouped them up into, because, you know, sometimes when people send us emails, they send us multiple emails at once.
Multiple questions at once.
Multiple questions at once, thank you.
Yeah.
And so we'll kind of like be like, okay, this person's third question was similar to this person's second question, you know, so we'll group them up like that. But Dani and Dyxo kind of asked something a little similar.
So Dani asks, Roxas starts the game in Digital Twilight Town, right? And he does believe he lives there, and also that he goes to school there because they're doing homework and stuff. But also he has an apartment. Who does he think he lives with? It just doesn't make sense for him to believe he actually lives there without these answers. This made me laugh because it's like Kingdom Hearts lives outside of the realm of capitalism in the real world that we are subject to in everyday life.
I want to move to Twilight Town.
Yeah, me too. And then Dyxo asks a similar question. Like, how long has Roxas really been there? Are these fake memories invented by Diz, or was he really here for the entire summer?
Okay, so I would say, so when, I can't remember if he kind of says this in the reports or if he says this to Riku, but Diz is always kind of implying like, okay, we got Roxas in the datascape, we gotta hurry. We don't have much time. We gotta fucking go before they find us, right? And so I don't feel like they would have time to have Roxas there for a whole cycle or a whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his first day in Twilight Town is literally his first day in Twilight Town.
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier. Like, and if the first through fifth days are like real time.
That's what I think. And they probably, I assume, just got Namine to like make him forget that he used to be in like a cult or like whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And then when you can easily, you can easily code the memories of these individuals. They probably coded all of Roxas's quote unquote friends to pretend like they always knew him, even though they did not. Which is something I want to have a whole episode on. I would love to have a whole episode on Twilight Town and like the weird fucking shenanigans that goes on. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Whee!
So, moving on to another topic, we got a question from Adrian asking, we see Roxas getting flashes of Sora's memories in his dreams. Why do you think that is? Namine's resorting the memories to Sora, and in this game we are told that Roxas didn't get Sora's memories, so why does he dream of Sora's memory restoration?
So I
we mentioned earlier, how Namine connecting Roxas to Sora made it reciprocal. And so I think even though technically Namine was like, quote unquote, putting Roxas in Sora over like the process of these 6 days, I still think, which like you might think to yourself, how was Roxas able to like go around if part of him was slowly becoming into Sora? I don't really know if I can explain why he was able to do that, but we do know that Sora was slowly waking up because of the robot going restoration at 97%,
Yeah.
And so that restoration was about Sora. So we know that during these 5 days, is it 5 or 7? 7? 6 days? I should know this, but I don't. I'm so sorry.
I want to say it's 5. I don't, because I think I'm basing that off of the resource folder I have downloaded for the voice lines, and I think it's 5 days.
Well, whatever. I'll just say the week. The week that I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm losing it. I'm going back into my somebody, and I'm forgetting my memories.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I think either the connection between Roxas and Sora was reciprocal, or it's possible, which Diz himself does not talk about this, so maybe it's like technically not canon or wrong or whatever, but I would say it's possible that Roxas did always have Sora's memories inside him, and they were just buried really, really deep. Because, I don't know if you remember this, Hannah, but in Chain of Memories, when we were talking about Chain of Memories, we had an analogy, and it was like, the links of the chain are so long that they eventually, like, go into the subconscious, if you picture, like, an actual chain.
Right.
And so, I think it's possible that that was the case with Roxas, and connecting him to Sora kind of brought them up to the surface.
Yeah. I think it's just so inevitable that these two are so intertwined in everything that they are. They are the same person, but they're not. Like, I just feel like they're always going to break the mold in some way when it comes to their connection. That's my opinion, at least.
So true, bestie.
My non-expert opinion. So under the same topic, kind of, Dyxo asks, finally, why would Roxas wield Oathkeeper and Oblivion? Aren't those Keyblades tied to Kairi and Riku respectively? Do they take up a new meaning with him?
Once again, I wonder if this is, like, evidence that Sora and Roxas are back and forth. Because if Oathkeeper and Oblivion are from Sora, but Roxas inherits them, and there's, like, okay, so something you'll hear Kingdom Hearts fans say a lot is that what changes is not the sword itself, but the little keychain at the end. Mm-hmm. And so you take off the keychain and you put on a new one and the Keyblade changes form. And like, maybe that's literally canon, but you just never see it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in Kingdom Hearts 3, you never fucking see anybody change keychains, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say not that like Roxas like found the keychains to these two, but that somehow his connection with Sora, and in extension Riku and Kairi, which is what Namine is all about. Like, Namine is like, okay, well, Sora, the people connected to you are connected to others by extension or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know, like, to me it just makes sense. Like, it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts logic. Like, they're just connected, and that is the logic. The logic is that they're connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then for our next question, comes from Shard of Truth. Since Roxas had to give up his body for Sora to recomplete his memories, what do you think were the repercussions of Sora not having his original body during the end of Kingdom Hearts and all of Chain of Memories? The heart of the matter is that basically Roxas and Namine lose their bodies in the process. Do you think they both had to give up these bodies at all?
So Namine we can talk about more next episode, because I do think
basically, I do think Namine had to join with Kairi. I think Namine was like losing her existence, and that's why at the end of The World That Never Was, she was like semi-transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Namine had to join in with Kairi, and we'll get to more detail into that in the next episode. And then, as for the repercussions of Sora not having like his original body, quote unquote, I didn't really feel like there were any repercussions because Sora didn't seem to be like acting funny or like misremembering things or being a little weird.
That would be so interesting. That would have been an interesting turn that they could have taken with this game. It feels like if like Sora encountered some enemy that he hadn't seen but Roxas had, and he just like instinctively knew how to fight it. That would be cool. That would be amazing.
And
we should write this damn game.
Yeah, we should. But I think Sora not having any repercussions, to me, tells like how strong Kairi's power was that she restored Sora so completely. Like when she restored him, they were hugging. Mm-hmm. So it's like a physical body you can touch, you know? Yeah. And so I wrote here, damn, Kairi, you did a good job.
Yeah. Kairi OP, Princess of Light OP, Princess of Heart. I think I called it a Princess of Light earlier.
It's the same fucking shit.
Whatever.
If you have the audacity to correct, like, who give a fuck? Who give a fuck?
You know what I mean. And then our last question for the day from Adrian. Do you think Roxas has all of Sora's memories at the end of summer vacation, or did he just get glimpses of it during his dreams?
Okay, so I would love to know what you think first. Do you think he, like, got all of Sora's memories? Because, like, to me, I would say no, because he, like, still acted like Roxas. He didn't be like, my other life. He said Sora as if he was, like, the other. And not himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that, even if you have those memories, that wouldn't necessarily, like, make you think you're that other person still.
Really? I disagree. How funny.
I don't know. I guess, like, memories, like, I'm just thinking very realistically. I guess memories really are a different monster in the game and are something very powerful. I don't know. Like, I feel like you can have all the, I don't know. That's just how I feel. And it's just, I think so. Like, that's what I feel. I think that, yeah, he would. Because I go back to the restoration at 97% or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, like, all the memories coming to him in dreams. I feel like
that's true. Yeah, you're right. 97's a big-ass fucking number. That's a lot of memories to go back into him.
Yeah.
So, okay, I can see what you mean.
We can agree to disagree.
No, because, like, my only thought process was, like, those people who, like, when they talk about their past lives, they'll say things like, which I don't know if you believe in past lives, and I don't know if I believe in past lives. I'm just saying people who talk about it, they'll say things like, I was a widow, and I remember my old cottage, you know, like, they'll say shit like that, you know, in a very personal way. So that's what came to my mind.
Right.
But I guess I can see your point where just because, like, you remember, you know what I also think of? Me and my twin, we have this memory where I swear it happened to me and she swears it happened to her. And when we were younger, we would get in fights over who it actually happened to. And to this day, we don't remember. So fucking stupid.
That's insane. That's some weird twin shit.
We're not even identical. We're fraternal. Anyway.
Well, that was our last question. So, Mel.
Yes.
What are we talking about next episode?
Do I mention a special something, or do I think
we mention a special something. I don't think we say who it is, but I think we mention that there might be a special someone on our next episode.
Ooh, a guest. I say. And we'll be talking about Namine and Kairi, and we're gonna There were some questions we got this episode about comparing Namine to Roxas because, you know, like we talked about, they're both really anomalous nobodies who, even though like they're the ones we're most familiar with, they are the exceptions. They break the rule. And so we couldn't really talk about why they're similar in that way because we haven't discussed Namine yet. But next episode, we will be able to dive deeper into why Roxas and Namine together are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a good episode. I'm happy with it.
It'll be a great episode. I'm excited for everyone to hear it. I'm excited for us to record it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can send your questions about Kairi and Namine and give us your speculations on who the special someone is going to be in our email, sheddingstarlight@gmail.com. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, give us that little 5-star review that we love to see so much. So tasty, so yummy.
Every 5-star review will heal me from my sickness.
Yeah. 4-star review charges 5-star review casts. Yeah, that's all we got for today. So, as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the Starlight.